So you want to be a polymath. Someone who can design like an artist, build like an engineer, and think like a strategist. A person who can connect dots across many different fields and turn that mix into power in real life. If that idea pulls you in, you are in the right place. This is one of the best times in history to live like a polymath. You have the internet on your phone. You have books, lectures, and world-class experts a few taps away. You also have AI tools that can explain, summarize, and coach you for free or for a very low cost. In this video, you will learn how to build yourself into a modern polymath. I will walk you through the mindset, the systems, and the learning methods that let you stack skills and stay sane at the same time. Stay with me to the end because I will share some advanced learning tricks that can save you months or even years. First, what does it really mean to be a polymath and why should you care? A polymath is someone who reaches a strong level of skill in more than one field. Not a random dabbler. Not a person who watches a few tutorials and calls it done. A polymath earns real ability across different domains, driven by curiosity and disciplined practice. Think about people like Leonardo da Vinci or Benjamin Franklin. They did not live as only one thing. Their work mixed art, science, engineering, and philosophy. They used knowledge from one area to solve problems in another. That is the real advantage of a polymath, depth in more than one place and the habit of linking ideas. So is a polymath just a generalist with a fancy label? Not quite. A generalist usually knows a little about many topics. They can move between conversations, but they often do not go very deep. A polymath picks fewer fields and pushes them closer to mastery in each one. The difference is depth. Why does this matter for you today? Most systems around you still push you toward one narrow track. From school to work, you hear the same question. What will you be? Doctor, engineer, designer. Pick one. Stay there. Specialization has benefits. You can reach high skill in a focused lane. The problem starts when your view becomes so narrow that you lose sight of the bigger picture. You become a sharp tool that only fits one kind of problem. Real life is messy. Problems cross borders. Technology, people, money, health, and culture all blend together. When you bring skills from different zones, you can see patterns that most specialists miss. You can solve problems in ways that surprise people, including yourself. So polymathy is not about ego. It is about flexibility, creativity, and resilience in a world that changes fast. At a deeper level, being a polymath is also about how you live your one life. Every child starts with curiosity. You asked why, you tried things. You did not worry about being the best. Slowly, many people lose that instinct. School, family, and work give you rules. You start to do only what is required. A polymath keeps that early curiosity alive, but adds structure and discipline. You aim higher than the minimum. You treat your brain and your time as your main capital. To do that, you must first master yourself before you try to master any field. That starts with mindset. You need a growth mindset, not a fixed one. A growth mindset says that skill comes from effort, feedback, and time. Maybe you start behind someone else. That does not matter if you can keep going when they stop. Also, keep your ego out of the way. When you think you already know enough, your desire to learn dies. You stop asking questions. You stop looking stupid on purpose. That is dangerous. See yourself as a student, even when people start to call you an expert. Assume that there is always more to learn. Use that feeling as fuel, not as shame. Next, you need realistic expectations. You cannot master a field in a week. You cannot become fluent in a language from one course. Big gains grow from small, repeated actions. So design systems instead of chasing motivation. A system is a simple routine that you can follow on your worst day. For example, read 10 pages, solve 3 problems, write 2 paragraphs, review 1 lesson. It looks small, but it compounds. 1 year of steady systems beats 1 month of crazy effort. Now protect the foundations, your health, and your time. Your brain is part of your body. If you do not sleep, move, and eat in a decent way, your thinking suffers. You feel foggy, moody, and slow. No productivity hack can fix that. Exercise trains your body, but it also trains discipline. You show up when you do not feel like it. You push past comfort in a controlled way. The same quality helps you while you learn a hard topic or build a new skill. Time is the second foundation. If your day is pure chaos, you will never build deep skill. Start by knowing where your time goes. Remove obvious time sinks. Limit endless scrolling and empty browsing. These tools are designed to keep you hooked, not to help you grow. Use a simple planning method. For example, each night write down 3 important tasks for the next day. Block focused time for study or practice. Protect that block as if it is an appointment with someone you respect. When you struggle with procrastination, focus on one idea. Make it easy to start. Pick a tiny first step, like opening the book, writing 1 sentence, or watching 1 lesson. Once you start, momentum kicks in. Finishing becomes less painful than staying stuck. Also, fight distraction on purpose. Put your phone in another room. Turn off notifications. Use a timer to work in short focused sprints with short breaks. With practice, you can enter a flow state where you forget the clock and lose yourself in the work. So far we talked about preparing yourself. Now let us talk about how to actually become an expert in a skill. Real experts share a few key traits. First, they combine many attempts with feedback. They do not just repeat the same mistake for years. They act, get a result, adjust, and try again. This loop turns hours into progress. Second, they train in a valid environment. That means the skill has clear signals of success or failure. You can tell if your code runs, if your design works, if your argument is sound, if your client is happy. Luck might affect one result, but over time, skill becomes visible. Third, they get timely feedback. The shorter the gap between action and result, the faster you learn. That is why practice tests, live projects, and real users teach you more than endless theory. Fourth, they use deliberate practice. They do not always stay in the comfort zone. They push the edge of their ability. They attack weak spots. They solve problems that are slightly above their current level. If you layer passion on top of this structure, growth feels easier. Not effortless, but more meaningful. Now, how do you learn any new field as a polymath? Start with preparation. Choose what you want to learn and why. A clear reason keeps you going when things get hard. Then find or build a learning path. Today, many roadmaps already exist for coding, design, writing, business, and almost any other craft. Use them. Do not spend months inventing your own from zero. Break the path into stages. In the first stage, you are collecting information. You can repeat facts or steps, but you do not fully understand them. That is fine. Think of this as pouring concrete for a foundation. In the second stage, you start to interpret. You can explain the idea in your own words. You can see how one concept connects to another. You begin to ask better questions. In the third stage, you apply. You use what you know to create, solve, or teach. You build projects. You face real constraints. This is where real confidence appears. Mastery is not a finish line. Even when you are very good, there will be gaps in your knowledge. The difference is that now you know how to find and close those gaps. On this journey, you will meet plateaus, times when you put in effort but do not see progress. Most people quit here. Some burn out by pushing harder without a plan. Others accept a low level and stop improving. Your job is different. You have to learn to live on a plateau without giving up. Use plateaus as a signal to adjust, not to quit. You can change your practice routine, find a mentor, switch resources, or take a short planned rest. You can review old material to tighten your base. Often, a small shift unlocks the next jump. Also, keep your identity flexible. You are not only a coder, or only an artist, or only a student. You are a learner who can move through different roles over time. That identity supports polymathy. Now let us add some high-leverage tools that can speed up your growth. First, improve how you read. You do not need to read every word at the same speed. Skim first to see the big picture. Decide what you want from the text. Then read key parts more slowly. This saves time and keeps your mind active instead of bored. Second, use memory techniques. Active recall means you test yourself instead of only rereading. Close the book and write what you remember. Explain the idea out loud. Teach it to someone else. The spacing effect means you review material several times with gaps in between, instead of cramming in one night. Third, practice critical thinking. Do not accept every sentence as truth. Ask questions. What is the claim? What is the evidence? What are the hidden assumptions? Can you think of a counterexample? When you reach an insight and feel that click, pause and lock it in by summarizing it in your own words. Fourth, push your limits with real challenges. Solve harder problems. enter contests. Take practice exams under time pressure. Build projects with deadlines and users. These experiences stretch your ability and show you where you still need work. Fifth, connect ideas across fields. When you study one area, ask how it links to something you learned elsewhere. Patterns repeat across domains. Once you train your brain to notice those patterns, every new field becomes easier to learn. Languages, skills, and tools start to feel more familiar, even when they are new. Finally, use technology as an amplifier, not a crutch. AI tools can help you understand hard topics faster. They can give you summaries, examples, and practice questions. They can rewrite explanations in simpler language. They can act as a patient tutor when you feel stuck. Just remember one rule. Do not let the tool think for you. Use it to check your ideas, not to replace them. The goal is still to grow your own mind. To make this more concrete, let us build a simple example of a polymath in training. Imagine you choose 3 pillars, for example, coding, writing, and health. Coding builds your ability to solve problems and create tools. Writing sharpens your thinking and communication. Health supports both by giving you energy and focus. You could design your week like this. On weekdays, spend 1 focused hour on coding, half an hour on writing, and some time moving your body. On weekends, review what you learned, build a small project, and plan the next week. The exact numbers do not matter as much as the consistency. Many people think they are too busy for this. Often, the real issue is not time, but priority. If you track your screen time for a week, you may be shocked at how many hours drift into low-value use. You do not need to remove all entertainment. You only need to claim back a small part and use it with intention. Another powerful lever is community. Humans learn faster when we share the path. Look for people who care about growth, not gossip. Join study groups, online forums, or local meets in the fields you want to learn. Ask questions. Offer help where you can. Share your notes and your small wins. When you talk about what you are learning, you process it more deeply. When someone challenges your idea, you see blind spots. When you teach a concept to another person, you discover how well you actually understand it. You can also learn in public. This means you share parts of your journey online. You might post short summaries of books, small projects, or reflections. At first, very few people will notice. That is fine. You are building a habit and a record of progress. Over time, this record becomes proof of your skills. It can bring you friends, collaborators, clients, or job offers. It also keeps you accountable. When you tell people that you are learning something, you feel a gentle push to follow through. One trap is endless consumption. You keep watching videos, listening to podcasts, and reading threads, but you rarely sit down to do the work. You feel informed, but your real skill does not grow. To avoid this, use a simple rule. For every hour you consume, spend at least 1 hour creating or practicing. Another trap is switching too often. You try a field for 2 weeks, then jump to another one when it gets hard. After a few months, you are tired and confused and you think you lack discipline. In reality, you never stayed long enough to cross the first plateau. Commit to a field for a clear period of time, for example 3 or 6 months, before you decide to drop it. A third trap is comparison. You scroll through people who seem far ahead and feel that you started too late. That feeling is common but not useful. Your only fair comparison is who you were last month or last year. If you are a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more skilled than before, you are on the right track. Finally, remember that polymathy is personal. You do not need to match a historical hero. You do not need 10 expert-level skills. Start with 1 or 2 that matter to you and to the people you want to serve. Then expand from there. The goal is not to collect labels. The goal is to become a person who can think, create, and adapt across the different chapters of your life. In the end, polymathy is not about being perfect in many fields. It is about loving the process of learning and staying consistent over years. Small, smart steps, repeated with care, will take you further than raw talent without effort. So decide who you want to become. Pick your first or next field. Design a simple system. Protect your time and attention. Learn, build, connect, repeat. If you commit to that path, you will wake up one day and realize that you are no longer just curious. You have become a true polymath in action.